Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times this Tuesday, October 13, 2020. For today's editorial, the House of Representatives is not a building. Let us underline this point emphatically in order that there can be no misunderstanding. The House of Representatives of the 18th Congress is not the Batasan building or the complex of offices and furniture that are attached to it. Rather, the House of Representatives is the group of legislators who were elected in the May 2019 congressional elections and who were sworn in as the new assembly elected to carry out the work of legislation of the House in the 18th Congress. Likewise, the House of Representatives is not the House mace. The mace is only a symbol of its authority and cannot confer authority on Cayetano, no matter how zealously he hides it. These truths have to be stated and restated because the former House Speaker, Peter Cayetano, and his cohorts desperately tried yesterday to stave off his ouster from the House pedestal and tried every trick in the book to confuse and mislead the public. In fact, they only succeeded in deluding themselves. No one else was deceived, and Cayetano is now history. The only fact that requires validation is whether the 186 lawmakers who assembled yesterday in Quezon City to oust Cayetano as Speaker and install Lord Alan Velasco as the new Speaker of the House are duly elected representatives of their respective districts and constituencies, and are authorized to conduct the business of lawmaking and representation of their constituents in the Congress. The other question is whether the 186 lawmakers represent an authentic and valid majority of the House. In fact, only 151 legislators are required to constitute a majority of the House of 299 members. The group executed their action plan in strict accordance with the rules of the House of Representatives in the 18th Congress. The lawmakers stated their position clearly in a manifesto. In accordance with Section 13, Rule 3 of the Rules of the House of Representatives of the 18th Congress, we call to assemble, move to, and cast our vote to declare the position of Speaker vacant on Monday, October 12, 2020. Further, also in accordance with the same section, we will move to and cast our vote to declare Representative Lord Alan Velasco of Marinduque as Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 18th Congress, it added. They acted lawfully. We think that Cayetano's attempt to portray yesterday's House session and Velasco's election as fake is puerile and laughable. This development would not have happened had Cayetano been a man of his word. It was his scheming and ambition that set up the term-sharing agreement between him and Representative Velasco. Although coming from the bottom in the Speaker's race, he got his wish to be first to lead the House for 15 months. But then came the time for him to yield the floor to Velasco. As his time ran out, Cayetano had a change of mind about giving up the speakership. He lusted for the chance to stay on. The election of Velasco by his supporters is the realization of the term-sharing agreement between him and Cayetano, brokered no less by President Rodrigo Duterte. The president wisely recognized that Velasco had earned the right to take over from Cayetano and serve out the remaining 21 months. Cayetano does not only disgrace himself by not honoring the agreement, he degraded himself even more by suspending the session of Congress and holding the 2021 national budget hostage. The House has saved itself from a wretched speaker. He and his 24 deputy speakers will not be missed. And that's the editorial for Tuesday, October 13, 2020. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.